Now let's talk about Labor politicians piling on Nationals frontbencher Barnaby Joyce for comments they claim are inflammatory and worthy of him being sacked. Let's listen to those comments first. These comments have enraged not only Labor but segments of the media.
Your greatest power is organising on a national level. And your greatest weapon is to turn up in numbers in Canberra, in Macquarie Street, in George Street, in Queen Street. And the bullet you have is that little piece of paper. And it goes in that magazine called The Voting Box. And it's coming up. Get ready to load that magazine. Go, goodbye, Chris. Goodbye, Stephen. Goodbye, Albo.
He likened a vote going into a ballot box to a bullet going into a magazine, and now Labor MP and Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, Patrick Gorman, is calling for Barnaby to be sacked.
This was some of the most extreme language we have seen from an Australian politician in recent memory. It was extreme language used by a senior member of Peter Dutton's front bench, extreme language used by someone who sat for years on the National Security Committee. I'm not calling for Barnaby Joyce to resign. I'm calling for Peter Dutton to sack him. This is unacceptable.
Or for David Littleproud too.
Well, Peter Dutton is the leader of the coalition. Peter Dutton says that he will be a Prime Minister who will make tough calls. Well, this is the first tough call that he needs to make if he thinks he should be anywhere near a leadership position. If he's just waiting for the Nationals to give him permission, it shows how weak he is, and it shows that there is no low standard that he won't let walk by.
Daniel, where does one start? Does the Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister not understand that Peter Dutton can't sack a Nationals MP? And frankly, why would he want to over those comments?
Well, poor Patrick's having a hard time there. I mean, I never really heard of him until that, to be honest with you, so I don't know what he's been doing with his time. But no, Peter Dutton's not the leader of the coalition. He's the leader of the opposition of the Liberal Party, so it's a distinction that Patrick might want to read up on, given that he is in government. Look, the other point... The other point that I'd make is, look, Barnaby's apologised for his language. It was probably a bit over the top. But the fundamental thing he's saying is there's a lot of communities in regional Australia that are being steamrolled by the inner city elites and the energy corporations who are putting solar panels, wind turbines, high tension, high voltage transmission lines across their land. And what Barnaby is saying is you need to organise, get active. You have to go and actually communicate your issue on a national scale. Get the groups together because this is a national issue, not just a localised regional issue. So the substance of what he was saying was spot on. But I think he's apologised for the bullet comment and probably fair enough.
Yeah, there's plenty of analogies you can make. There's other ones, but I don't think anybody listening to that would have felt compelled to do anything unlawful. I mean, come on.
And what Patrick said, that this is the most extreme language used or something. Well, what about what the Palestinian protest was saying in relation to October 7th?
Well, what about his own colleague up until a few weeks ago saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free? Did he come on Sky and complain about that?
I've never heard him condemn that.
I don't think so. Now, Meta's fact checkers are claiming that an iconic image now of Trump after his near assassination is an altered photo. You all remember this image where he got up, put his fist up, said fight. Absolutely outrageous, but not surprising. Now we've got a Facebook representative who has admitted this was a mistake and apologised, but the so-called fact checks on Meta, that's both Facebook and Instagram, are highly partisan and always, Daniel, in the one direction.
Spot on. They're not apologising because they got it wrong. They're apologising because they got caught out. And that's always the way. We've talked about this before with the fake fact checkers. The analysis we did in the Voice to Parliament fact checking was 90% of fact checking was against the no side, despite the fact that it was the yes side that was perpetrating misinformation. I mean, it was Albanese who said, this is just a small modest request. No, you're changing the Constitution along racial lines. So, look, this is the concern with misinformation laws as well. As we know, the way that they would be policed by people like E-Safety Commissioner is through these fact-checking organisations, which, as you say, are blatantly political and compromised and cannot be trusted.
Oh, absolutely. And if it wasn't for X and Elon Musk buying X, we wouldn't be having an apology and withdrawal of this particular fact check, because they wouldn't be embarrassed, because that would also exist across X like it did in 2020, where they buried that New York Post story on Hunter Biden's laptop. They worked in unison across the board to suppress that story. Daniel Wild, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you.